that.
Yeah, I brought a water and a sody for that.
Okay, so let's see. Me click on this. Okay, it's working. So JD, just kick us off. Jenny, you got line 2.
Um, what should we do for an intro?
I have an idea for something around like maybe the Salt Lake whale, like making the three bit version of that is something like that.
You guys know that Brady Bunch episode where they go to Hawaii?
Obviously not. Why would I know that?
What does that have to do with my idea?
No, like the Brady Bunch, they go to Hawaii and Bobby Brady finds a tiki idol and he gets cursed. Come on, the President of the United States of America wrote a song about it called Tiki God. Seriously? Nothing?
What are you talking about?
Am I the only red-blooded American here with a proper understanding of American culture? I don't think either of you could even pass a Homeland Security citizenship test right now. They'd send you both to Gitmo.
See, this is why I hate it when you wear your American flag tank top. You get all uppity and act like some all-American Patriot Act psycho. Take it off.
Even if I take it off, you know I still bleed red, white, and blue. You've just logged into the 3-Bit Patriot Show. Welcome to the 3-Bit Gamer Show. I'm JD.
This is Peterson.
This is Jenna.
And
guys, that intro was a real conversation we had before the episode trying to plan the intro.
And it was awful, and I hate it that it's the intro.
This legit happened. We're like, what is going on? And JD's literally calling us out for not knowing the Brady Bunch.
I feel like everyone should have like at least a cursory knowledge of
that is not your knowledge.
A handful of just like American mid-century sitcoms. Is that? Am I off base here?
Yes, I would say you are off base. If I'm being 100% honest, there's no way I would know that. I haven't seen anything Brady Bunch for.
What if you get
years,
accused of being like
years.
a Russian sleeper agent, though? How do you prove that you're not? Like, how do you prove that you were here in like the 90s or the 80s? If you're like, oh, all I know about is Fortnite. They're like,
Saved by the Bell. Saved by the Bell. I got lots of Saved by the Bell knowledge. So
I don't know. I think that's
that
like old.
help?
I don't know. Okay, well,
that'd help a little bit.
Moving on.
Sorry, hold on. I didn't have it up.
It's fun stuff.
Live from the 3-Bit Gamer Show. The news.
Okay, our news this week is brought to us by Crave Cookies. Crave. Dude, you almost got me.
I'm good to put it in there.
You almost got me, you son of a gun. All right, so checking out the brand new super sexy cookie calendar. I'm giving you guys the sneak peek of the week on the cookies this week. We've got coming up for you the chocolate. Wait, we did that already. That's what's already happening right now.
This week.
What's coming up is the campfire s'more.
Okay.
The Rockstar, the Cinnarroll Pop-Tart, which I gotta say, it's got that cinnamon, like sugary filling goo inside.
Mm-hmm.
And every bite of that you get just, it's perfect. Stuffed cookies and cream. And once more this week, their cold cookie is the Better Than Sex cake cookie.
They're just double dipping on that one?
Yeah. I mean, what's better than sex? Guys, cookie. Also, Trent, being the busy person he is, forgot to mention that he's opening a new franchise in a state that wasn't even on our fucking radar. Wasn't even on his website. He's such a chode. But if you guys, any of you are in Tennessee, did he give us the city, Peterson, or did he just say Tennessee?
I mean, what city? Can you name cities in Tennessee anyway?
Bristol.
Yep, exactly.
Named after Bristol Palin. Bristol, Tennessee. They loved her. They thought she was an
Recently
inspiration.
renamed the city. The name of the
They
city
voted.
is actually always in flux. So
They voted. Yeah, they
change it
voted.
every
The city
5-10
councils
years.
like Bristol Palin. She was the one that nailed it for us this year, the year of our Lord 2008. So
Dude,
yeah, Bristol.
he's gonna kill it in Tennessee. He's gonna kill it in Tennessee. Look,
Unbelievable.
I don't
Where
think
is-
we have a lot of Tennessee listeners, so I'm just gonna say it. There's a lot of fat people there. This is like the Pawnee, Indiana of the
I was
real
just gonna
world.
say, if it's anything like Pawnee, Indiana, if we do have fat Tennessee listeners, they're like, yeah, fuck yeah, we are. We'll eat your cookies. All right, Bristol, Tennessee is kind of fucking in the middle. It's in the booties, dude. But I'll tell you what, it's close to. If you guys are anywhere near, you now have a Crave Cookies within 50 miles of you. If you are in Knoxville, Charlotte, that's Charlotte, Charlotte, North Carolina, Winston-Salem, Greensboro, Columbus, Ohio, Cincinnati, Lexington, Louisville, Kentucky, like it's right on the border of Kentucky. So yeah, dude, Bristol, Tennessee. Trent forgot about it. We forgot about it, but next week, like a couple days after this podcast airs, new Tennessee location. Tennessee, Florida, and Utah soon, and then Arizona next, Texas.
I
The
am
Empire
going to
grows.
get a lot of crap for this Tennessee talk though, because the Lee brothers, who I game with all the time, are from Tennessee. So
They're coming for you.
well, go home and get some cookies.
The Super Mario Brothers movie is now the highest. Yeah, I'll read
Hold on.
whatever you put on the
Stop.
fucking doc. You have to spell it out. It can't be Mario Bros. The Super Mario Brothers movie is now the highest grossing video game adaptation ever. We lost Jenna. He's fucking gone.
You have to say it as Bros.
Super Mario Bros. Yeah, with 2 S's. Peterson, will you make that the title of the episode?
Super Mario Bros.
Bros.
Got it.
2 S's.
You got her.
That's it.
I don't know if I've heard that giggle from Jenna before.
That's the funny
She's
bone.
saying he.
She's doing the Michael Jackson, dude. We got her. We fucking got her.
She's Jacksoning.
She's Jacksoning. She's totally Jacksoning right now. All right. You guys kind of got the gist of it. I hope if you even were able to pay attention to the headline, the Super Mario Bros. Movie is huge. That's it. Pack it up. Pack it up. Jenna's done.
She almost Michael Jacksoned again.
She's
trying
holding
so
it
hard
back,
not
but
to.
she's doing it internally.
Let it go. Let the Jackson go.
Just let it out. This movie, this movie, we won't mention the name of because I don't want to kill Jenna.
She might
It
pass
has-
out if you say
It's
it again.
grossed over $500 million worldwide, $260 million of that in North America. So a cool $250 million. It's been out just a couple weeks. This is also the biggest opening ever for an animated film. That one surprised me.
That's crazy.
All the Toy Stories?
Dude, okay, but I have like all of my kids wanted to see this. In fact, my second son, he's 13, he was like, we went and saw it, and he was like, I don't want to go see it with you. Me and my friends are gonna go plan on going and seeing it. Like they're making a time.
Dad,
I
nerd.
know. It was like, ugh, let's get out of here. So, and I will say I am definitely in the minority in my feelings for this movie because everyone's just loving it. I
Is
thought
it
was
hard
mediocre.
when your kids think you're not cool? When you look at your kids, you're like, do you know how painfully uncool you are?
Yeah. Oh no, I tell them all the time.
Yeah. I'm like, don't be embarrassed by me. I'm embarrassed by you. Look at you. You're wearing long socks.
I don't tell them I'm embarrassed by them, but I do let them know that I am cooler than they are.
Good. Because
Way
like
to beat
that's just
down,
like
Peterson.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They
Show them
can't.
how to be.
Look, hey, if they ever take that title away from me, I'll proudly admit that they're cooler than me.
You guys are dope. Cool.
Today's not the day.
Not right now. Not right now. Have fun at the Mario Brothers movie with your friends. You guys are very cool.
They end up walking home because they didn't have a ride home.
You guys don't even have a car? Oh my god.
You had to walk home
Seriously?
like 2 miles?
You can't even buy your own cigarettes? Oh my god. Losers. Seriously.
I can buy all the cigarettes I want to. I don't do it, but
I
if I
don't do it, but
wanted
I
to,
could.
dude,
I fucking can.
buy them and throw them away. I don't care.
Can I get a pack of Marlboro Reds? You just grab, just throw it, and you walk out. You
Crunch it up, chuck it on the ground,
I don't
flip everyone
smoke.
off.
Fucking disgusting.
America, run off.
Millennials spend more time playing video games than Gen Z and teens. New study finds.
We hate our
Oh,
lives.
goodness.
No, we don't hate our lives. They hate their lives. Trust me. I know these
Oh,
kids.
yeah.
They hate
I
everything.
mean, can you blame them?
yeah, I can.
Just when they
What?
started getting used,
I blame 'em for everything.
used to all the school shootings, and they're like, I guess this is a way of life. We'll have like the backpacks that have like metal steel plates in them. Like that's totally fine. And then a pandemic hits. And then we're like, sorry, when you graduate, there's no houses left.
Why aren't they playing more games though?
TikTok.
No,
No, I don't know
There's
for
no
real,
energy
but
to play
Dancing?
games. Too sad. Yeah, dancing for TikTok.
no, actually, they are playing. Actually, the study said they are playing more games
Yep.
than previous years. But I see. Look, I don't know what generation I am. I'm on the cusp of like two of them, like millennial and Gen. I can't remember. Gen X, I can't remember. But I'm like right in that off year.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think the reason probably is, look, we have a lot of us now have stable careers and we can game at night. People are having less kids. And so
Yeah.
like you're at home, you have money, you've got a nice rig. You get home, you eat dinner, and you're like, I'm gonna play games for a few hours. You know what I mean? Whatever. Who cares? No one's here to stop me. I've got no other responsibilities. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe
How about this? How about this stat from the study? 40% of this, because this came from fandom. If you guys are familiar with fandom, they do a lot of like wikis, like the fandom wikias. If you ever go to like a gaming wiki, it's fandom generally. And they have this inside gaming report every year. And 40% of their millennial audience spends 22 hours per week gaming. And that's of tweens, like Peterson said, they have less time. They just have straight up less time. And they do 29% because they have so much fucking homework and bullshit. Guys, none of that homework's going to matter. Sorry, long term. It's just keeping you busy. I don't know why. And then you get old and you start paying more taxes. That's basically the loop. But yeah, I think 22 hours a week is a shit ton. And that's almost, that not half, but 40% of millennials. That is.
if you catch me on a good week, I could hit 22. Like Harry Potter, Hogwarts Legacy. That's like I was knocking out that much. This week I did not. This week I was like 8 at most. And that includes cell phone games.
It really, yeah, if I've got a really good game, Valheim, Planet Crafter, Raft, Harry Potter, like you said, Hogwarts Legacy, rather. Yeah, I could get there, but
it's still a lot. It's still a lot.
Fuck ton.
Like it's like 3-4 hours a day.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a lot. But I mean that I've had times when I've easily done that, right? I hop on every night, play from like 9 to midnight. Or 9 to 1, depending on what we're playing. So I could see this happening easily, but it does surprise me that we're playing more video games because I do see my kids often. They're like, I have 5 free minutes. Like we're all waiting in the car for my son, and he's like, hold on, back on Minecraft. And I was like, I kicked you off already, so you can get ready to go with us. I know, but you guys weren't ready yet, so I hopped back on.
No, I was reading this. It kind of made me sad. I was like, wait a sec, is video games going to trend downward because the kids they're too cool for it? And then I thought about your kids and it gave me hope. I was like, nah, Peterson's kids alone will handle the gaming. They'll bring them up to 22 hours.
Plus, I think they are getting more. They have more distractions in terms of like their free time. For real, like TikTok is legit. Like kids will just spend 3 hours a day on just watching garbage videos. Like that's a
Okay.
real thing.
Did we spend a commensurate amount of time on MSN Messenger? Wait, did you have messengers? What was your thing?
AOL
AOL
instant
or
message.
did you had instant messenger though?
When I was, it was like junior high school.
And that's
So,
like we sunk like an equal amount of time into that shit, right? Just staring at words on a screen.
yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I don't know. What's their excuse? Get it together, you little shits. Play more video
Dude,
games.
we totally got you guys beat.
Yeah, we're gonna continue to dominate the leaderboards and step it up, tweens.
Yeah.
Two EVE Online players stole an entire corporation worth 20,000 real life dollars.
Okay. I love this story so much. Here's what happened.
Classic EVE shit, dude.
Yeah, dude, just this game is nonsense. But these guys get on, and there's corporations in the game and they have like a board who manages the corporation and all the assets of the corporation. Like, it's wild. And so these two guys find a larger corporation, a pretty large corporation, where the board members are not super active in the game at the moment. So what they do is I guess at any time you can like instate a vote to like for a takeover,
You have to have
right?
like 5% shares.
Yeah, so they go in and they did this all. This wasn't like they didn't do anything shady, no hacking, but they installed themselves as the heads of this company because the board members weren't paying attention. They weren't online, they weren't watching it. And go ahead.
It's like when you're playing Monopoly at like Thanksgiving and someone gets up, your uncle gets up he's like, I'm gonna go take a shit. And after like 15 minutes, he is not back. And you're like, no signs of life. And he just happens to trade a couple of his properties with you for what you deem is kind of like a reasonable amount. He comes back and you're like, dude, fair game. You shot half a turkey in there. What do you expect we were going to do?
He's like, oh, how did you get those houses on those properties? Oh, on my turn, I did that. You were in the bathroom. I got some money and got to build those houses.
And according to EVE Online rules, like, well, you snooze, you lose, you dumb bastards.
They took it, and they didn't, mind you, they had no interest in running the corporation. They go in, they're the heads of the corporation. They just take everything, all their currency, all their digital currencies. They take all their little game assets, all the things, and now they just have it. It's theirs now. They did a heist in EVE Online.
If I understand correctly, them actually stealing all the assets of the corporation was like a game mechanic, like a physical thing where they like had to load the inventory into like ships and steal it. So don't forget, this is still very much a video game. It wasn't just like they just transferred the money or sent it to something. It was a matter of like loading up ships, flying them to your ships, unloading them, and now you have it in your inventory. I think that's what a wild ass thing. Yeah, Eve is
honest
so weird.
video game work.
Yeah,
hey, they made 20 grand. So kids, let's see.
The guy made $1 million.
Gen Zers, it's worth it to play video games all day. You make 20 grand.
Yeah, I mean, depending on how many heists you can pull off a year, you can make like minimum wage doing this shit. Because this is split two ways. So
yeah, and
money.
I mean they do have to sell stuff if they wanted to, but yeah.
So like they could
sounds
now
like a lot of work.
If they're American, they now have the ability to break a bone.
But also they do have to pay taxes on their EVE Online winnings or loot.
Try to make it a finger bone, guys. Yeah. Something small. Microsoft's president Brad Smith is claiming that Russian intelligence is trying to penetrate gaming communities. Well, it's nice to have some intelligence in those communities. Wow.
Hello, this is Peterson. I do not think this story is true. I think Russia is a great country We only do good things. We have no time for gaming
You
community.
guys,
Thank
you guys don't see this because
This
you're
is
not on the
Peterson.
live stream, but Peterson's lips are not matching up with the words that are coming out. It's the weirdest thing. Dude, Peterson, you still there, bro?
Yes. Yes. Vladimir Putin is a great leader. Okay, I'll talk to you later. Bye. Hello, is my mic go out for a second? I was
Dude,
trying to
it
say
was
something.
it was the weirdest thing. I don't know, but it sounds like you're must have like a frog in your throat.
Dude,
or
I don't
something.
think Russia could take over any gaming communities. That would be crazy.
It's like trying to they're like trying to penetrate Discord groups and stuff, Discord channels. This is Brad Smith talking at the Semaphore World Economy Summit. He said, quote, "For the last several months, our digital threat analysis team has been identifying efforts by the Russians to basically penetrate gaming communities. And we've been advising governments about this." I'm sure lots of governments are listening, probably not. They're like, who cares about the dorks? It's the Wagner Group. These are the special monster mercenary group in Ukraine operating right now. And it's Russian intelligence, and they're using this as a place to get information into circulation. So just guys, if you're on a Discord group and one of the members is just like, guys, don't you think there's like lots of Nazis in Ukraine? And you're like, what?
No, like fascist groups in Ukraine. Like I don't,
bro.
Okay,
we were talking about fucking Minecraft. What are you on about?
No, I'm just saying. Like, okay, hear me out.
He's like so pushy about it, dude.
English is a little bit off, like the grammar's not
the
quite
R's
there.
are always backwards. They just don't seem to know which way the R's go.
It's confusing. Oh man, this is here we go again, right? The Russians are just infiltrating gamers.
How far have the Russians fallen? They used to spend years, they'd kidnap American babies and like raise them on their own and then send them over to America to live as sleeper agents, to be activated to assassinate political rivals. Now they're doing this. They're fucking dorking around in Discord channels with honestly dudes that probably have more abhorrent views than they do.
Yeah, they don't even need to be there.
They're probably picking up shit from the Discord groups. They're like, holy shit.
Like, you know what? I feel like I have to leave this group. It is a little too much for me.
Yeah, it's too much for me. The Russian mercenary. Gross. I don't want to watch that beheading video. Yeah, guys.
Please stop posting it again and again.
Stop. Good luck, Russian intelligence. I hope you guys really win the Discord front of the war. I've heard it's been very hot. Did you make a bit for this?
I did. I don't know if I liked it. I called it, what did I call it?
News and two, 2 minutes per story.
I didn't do that. That wasn't the one.
That was the one you made.
I didn't use that one. I didn't lose it. It's somewhere. I don't know. I might try a different one this week, though. I don't know. I called it
work in progress.
I called it headline hits. So I don't know. We'll see.
Episode 314. Oh, we should have done a pie episode. It's the pie episode, guys.
All right, start over. Okay, Jenna, we're recording tomorrow night. I'm going to be all about pie.
You guys are going to fucking love it.
Are you going to get me a pie?
You know, we don't get pie for real, Jenna.
Jenna, it's like a rhetorical thing.
Then I'm out.
It's like a fake pie.
Okay,
no
cherry
fake
pie.
Pies.
You
cherry
understand
pie
the
only.
reference,
Only real
though, right?
pies.
Cherry pie with ice cream.
A real
I
one?
think like
calzone.
Ooh, like a calzone pie?
Yeah. I just watched Parks and Rec, so I'm still in it. So
News and Two is this effort we had to shorten up the news segment by like not just rambling on forever, but
we spent 5 minutes
start talking about pie. What are you supposed to fucking do? All right, first story here. Suicide Squad, our favorite little game, has been delayed now again until Groundhog Day 2024. I don't know if that's an inside joke. Is that an ironic joke?
I
know.
don't. If it is, I don't get it. I don't understand. But what I do know is that this game is now. I think this game is gone. I think they'll release it. It's never going to make money.
Dude, here's the thing. How close to Groundhog Day do they get before they delay it again? And who is the first news outlet that writes the headline about a groundhog seeing its shadow and there's 6 more weeks of delay?
Oh,
because
my gosh,
I like to think they've got it spun up already, like obituaries for famous people.
Yeah.
That kind of a thing. And so they've already got this headline. The second that they delayed Suicide Squad till Groundhog Day, this game, like Peterson said, never gonna fucking come out. It's just not.
I think they're delaying it again because everyone hated it so bad when they released stuff earlier this year, and everyone was so mad about the microtransaction hell that this game was going to be. And so I think they pushed it back and said, "Oh, we're going to keep the core. Nothing's crazy is going to change." But now they're delaying it by 9 months, which makes me think they are going to change some stuff.
Dude, people were mad that they didn't about the initial delay, that they hadn't delayed it long enough. And then they delayed it 9 months, which I still don't think is long enough.
At some point, it's like this mixed bag, right? Can we bully them into completely canceling the game altogether? That would be funny. But also, let's just get this out there so the people who have been working on it for like a decade can just be done with this, right?
Yeah, so they can shake off that Stockholm syndrome and go get another job. Next up, we got Mario Kart players have figured out a new trick after 27 years. This headline is a little misleading because it seems like they found the trick 2 years ago, but they weren't able to replicate it properly.
Was the trick to drive backwards from the start line?
I like that. No.
Like in Ready Player One.
Who would ever think of that, though? That would take someone 2 years to think of, at very least, if not 30 plus years. Here's the thing that I was laughing about is that it seems like discoveries that they make in quantum physics where they're like, oh, we think we've done something. We think we've had an experiment that proves something, but we need to be able to replicate it in order to prove it, is real. And that's what's happened with this, is that 2 years ago, this guy clipped through a wall and nobody's been able to do it since. And now they're all doing it. And the speed, the
speed runners.
Yeah, the speed runners are setting new records every month now because they've got this new.
They can clip through the wall now.
But yeah, this is a game that came out 27 years ago, and they're still. So if you as a kid ever clipped through a wall in Mario Kart and you're like, and no one ever believed you,
why didn't you say something?
You should have said something. You could have helped advance the future of science by at least 20 years.
Okay, just play a game with me. What would our timeline be like now if 25
Al Gore
years
gets
ago...
elected president, 9/11 doesn't happen.
You should have said something, honestly. Whoever you are, this is on you.
Yeah, I'm really
Bin Laden
disappointed.
just slips down the stairs and just eats it, breaks his neck. It's fucking crazy. It's a good timeline.
Yeah.
Last thing here, NVIDIA has finally rolled out their new budget card, the 4070, coming in at a breezy $600. $600 is the budget card. Budget cards when I started building were like $250.
Back in my computer day.
Shut up.
Okay.
Listen, lady, we're trying to build you. Get on my side. We're trying to build you one of these things right now. Be indignant with me.
Don't just make fun of him. He doesn't like that.
You can make fun of me. Just also be indignant. This is the next card after this is the 4070 Ti, which is 800 and something.
Yeah. Honestly, at this point, I'm not sure what the need is for a 40 series. Someone's getting it. Someone's excited about it. But They're huge. They're gigantic. This one's a little bit smaller
This
than
one doesn't
the.
even do 4K. What is a 40 series card? How are they that high up?
Honestly, just get a 3060 Ti. That is a great card right now.
You get a 1080. Weren't the 10 series cards the first one that started doing like native 4K? And now they're 3 series later and they're introducing a card that doesn't do 4K.
Yeah, because 4K honestly does not matter that much in gaming. It's not that big of a deal.
It just seems weird. All right. Before we move on, one more time, just one more plug in case you guys didn't know. We've gotten a bunch of responses, which thank you already. But if you guys want to chime in on the podcast, we're running a listener survey right now. If you go to 3bitgamershow.com/survey or jump into our Discord, we've got it posted there. We'd love to hear your thoughts on what's working, what's not working, what segments you like, what segments you'd like added, what do you like, what you don't like. It's just literally 2 questions. It takes 0 seconds. So yeah, give that listener survey a fill out.
Kudos. Kudos. Kudos.
All right, kudos. This is positivity segment where you give a shout out to something great. Peterson has some kudos for us. He's a huge list. Peterson, what's off your list this week?
So this week, it's just because it's fresh right now. I just finished watching for the second time the Hatfields and McCoys TV miniseries. So Hatfields and McCoys, the miniseries aired originally in 2012. I watched it then, so it's been a decade. So I figured it was time for a rewatch because it's on Netflix right now.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. Everyone should watch this. It is so good. And I remember loving it back then. But, man, I loved it so much this second time through. I binged it so hard. I did it in like 2 days, maybe a day and a half. Just finished it. Each episode, there's 3 episodes, but they're like each hour and 15, hour and 20 minutes long. So they are longer. But, man, it is so good. If you're unfamiliar, Hatfields and McCoys back in the Civil War era, there was they started some beef, these 2 families, and it is a famous American feud that happened between these 2 families. Just everything escalates to people just them full out killing each other constantly. The show is very good. It's let's see, the headliners are Kevin Costner and Bill Paxton, who do a great job. All the actors honestly do a fantastic job in this. But those 2 are the heads of the families. It's wow. I mean, they do take some creative liberties in terms of the story, but I think they keep fairly true to Hatfields and McCoy's story and kind of the timeline of everything that happens, because it does span like 25, 30-year timeline. It's like a big timeline on the show. They'll just make big jumps. So kids who are at one episode are their kids, the next episode they're full-grown adults, just because they're a big part of the story. So honestly, everyone should watch this. JD and Jenna, you guys need to watch it. It is TVMA, and that's mostly for blood, because they're shooting. Right? They're shooting people. It's not that bloody, but there's no nudity. There's no real swearing that happens. It's like old-timey swearing that they're doing.
It was on History Channel, not HBO.
Yeah, if it's on HBO, dude, we'd have dongs and swearing, and it'd be
gotta hang brain to hang. That's just how you do.
They do stab a guy in the nuts at one point. So
does it show his nuts getting stabbed?
Nope, it's not the HBO
Fuck
version.
That.
It shows a knife sticking
Cowards.
out of it later.
Cowards.
The History Channel.
His balls aren't hanging on the knife though. There's no like vast deference, just like dangling there.
There's
on the
not.
blade.
No, it's not.
Why are you even talking about this show? This show sucks.
I hate it. You know what? Now that I think about it, I did want to see.
It is pretty sanitized.
No, watch it, guys. If you have not seen it, or if you haven't watched it since it aired in 2012, give it another watch, because I enjoyed it so much that it jumped to the top of my kudos list. So
Sick.
Hatfields and McCoys, it's on Netflix right now. Jenna and JD, watch it. Quit being dumb, just watch it.
Well, we just started watching Breaking Bad. We got through season 1 and we're getting into season 2 right now. So we got a minute.
Well, if you don't watch it in the next 3 months, then
We should be able to get it to it in 3
That's
months.
what's gonna be my kudos because I finally am watching it, even though I feel like everyone else in the world's seen it.
that's okay.
It's good, right?
It's really
How
good.
are you liking it, Jenna? You liking Breaking Bad?
It's really good.
It is really good. It sucks you in weirdly.
Who's
Like
your
Kelsey-
It's
favorite
way
character
more
so far?
comedic than I thought. Like I thought it was gonna be way more tragic, and yeah, so
It's a good mix of both. It's a good
Yeah.
mix of both.
Yeah.
it's good balance.
Kelsey started watching it a few months ago, and I jumped in on like almost the end of season 2. I saw an episode, dude. I got hooked. She fell asleep. I watched like 6 more episodes, just like in the middle of it, because I'd seen it, so I knew what was going on. It's so good. It's so good.
Yeah. So
That's why
I'm
it's one of the best
stoked for what
shows.
she's got coming ahead.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
There's tons of stuff. I have a kudos for another thing that Jenna and I watched. This is called The Pez Outlaw. I believe this is on Netflix, right? Yep,
The
it's on
Pez
Netflix.
Outlaw.
So these are all great Netflix shows. Every one of these: Breaking Bad, Hatfield McCoys, and The Pez Outlaw. It is. If you guys are like looking at the Tetris movie, but you don't want to get Apple TV Plus or whatever, and you're like, I kind of feel like that vibe. It feels like the same vibe. It's like Cold War setting, I believe. This guy gets a bug up his ass that he wants to go to the Pez factory, the international Pez factory in Europe, that they can get these rare Pez dispensers that they cannot get in the US because Pez US doesn't allow import of these. And so he's sneaking them in by the bushel load and then selling them. And he becomes just like he's the eponymous Pez outlaw. It's good. It's good. If you guys like these kind of crazy collector, I really like the documentaries about things like Beanie Babies and shit, where they just show the minds behind the people that are driving these insane trends that you only kind of see on the news.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's good. It's is it just one thing, Jenna? Was it
several episodes?
Several
Just
episodes. Let's see. I think it was just a.
I thought it was just one.
Yeah. If Netflix would ever load for me. Yeah, I think it's just the one. Yep. So yeah, check it out. Pez Outlaw. It's an hour and a half. Quick documentary. Good watch. It's got the recreations and shit. Do you guys have any more kudos?
Let's do that last one.
Okay.
A quick one. A restaurant in Salt Lake that I got a chance to go to. JD's mentioned it a few times. It's called the Bayou. I guess technically it's a bar that they put that all over the place. And they took my ID. It was like, what the freak? So yeah, I went to Kelsey and I had a chance to go to the Bayou, which I'd been wanting to go to. I got it's
Cajun, right?
Cajun, yeah,
cooking.
it's Cajuns. Yeah, so they've got gumbo, they've got jambalaya, they've got crawfish etouffee. But honestly, there were at least 10 things on the menu that I wanted to order. Everything I saw come out looked really good. I got the Cajun burrito, which is a burrito filled with jambalaya, and then a crawfish etouffee all over the top of it, just like a mess of it.
Did you eat that reheated yet?
Yes, I ate it today, and it was fantastic. I literally ate every single bite too. Like there was no crawfish etouffee left. I ate everything. It was
Can't
gone.
waste
the
any
whole
of it.
thing.
It's some of the most decadent fucking food. Jenna, what have you gotten there? Do you remember?
I usually get the po' boy,
Wow.
and it's also really good for takeout too, in case like you don't want to dine in, because they have that curb right out front that you can just like kind of boop and then go grab it. Because we did that during the pandemic, I believe.
A lot of people online were mentioning how good it was for takeout because the food, I mean, it's Southern food, so it's like I reheated that burrito the next day,
Yeah.
Totally great. Totally fine. Fantastic. Enjoyed every second of it. What a good restaurant. Super enjoyed it. Although I will say, um, my only downer was that I did not like the gumbo at all. It was like really, really bitter for me.
You got a bad batch. I'm convinced. You got to try it
Because
one more time.
I like gumbo a lot. Like I've never had a bad one, and this one was. I tried to power through it, and I stopped halfway in, maybe.
Yikes.
So, yeah, but everything else was incredible. The service was fantastic. The vibe was really good. So yeah, it's called
close
the
to
Bayou.
downtown.
Oh,
but not
it's right in
so
the middle of
close.
downtown. It's right there because we
Yeah.
went to a play right down the street.
But you can still get parking and stuff, which is nice. So it's not like in the
yes.
zoo part of downtown.
No. Yeah, it's not in that. It's not in that mess with all the high rises.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's called the Bayou, downtown Salt Lake. If you ever are looking for a place to go on date night, that's a great place. Great place.
Don't go on Valentine's though.
Don't go anywhere on Valentine's Day. To be honest, go like a
Don't
week
celebrate the
later.
holiday because it's all nonsense.
You know what? This podcast is coming out right now as anti-Valentine's Day.
Dude, don't
Okay.
celebrate any holidays that aren't solstices. They're all made up. The ones where the sun is there
Solstice
forever
holidays
or it's not there long
only.
enough and it fucking scares you. No, that's a fucking holiday.
You're like,
Go cut a goat's head off and bathe
What?
in its blood.
That's what we did, honestly, on the last solstice, and it was a really great experience. So I recommend
It was actually,
bonding.
yeah,
Goat sacrifice.
really cleansed my
understood.
toxins and centered everything.
Centered me. It centered me.
Oh my gosh. I think we're done for kudos, though. I think that's it.
Yeah, I think that's it.
The good, the bad, the ugly.
All right, the good, the bad, and the ugly is this segment we do where we highlight the good, the bad, and ugly parts of a specific aspect of video gaming. And this week, because it's everything in the news.
All the
everything in
news
the
was
world,
Mario.
Video game movies. What are the good, bad, and ugly aspects of video game movie?
And I feel like we've done this, but like 3-4 years ago. And so a lot has happened in the video game movie space since we really talked about it.
Yeah.
I mean, we've kind of talked about them as they've come out, but so yeah. What are some of the good? I want to hear your guys's.
All right. So for me, I like when you've got a new take on a story, but it's still kind of set in the same world. So one that jumps out to me is Detective Pikachu. You probably put that on your list. Is where
Are you
they've
me?
got.
This is like my number one good.
Yeah, because instead of bothering, it's the same kind of gripe I have about Star Wars, always focusing on the Skywalker story or someone that knew the Skywalkers or someone that knew someone who knew the Skywalkers. And it ultimately just goes back to that. Like, it's so unique and novel when you break out of that. So Detective Pikachu felt so fun for that reason, because it wasn't anything to do with a main trainer or necessarily any of these things from the games directly, but it's still borrowed from the world. How about you, Jenna? What's a good thing for you in video game movies?
I feel like capturing the feeling of like being in the world that you enjoy becomes really important, because sometimes I think like the story lacks in a film, but if they can bring that in together with the world building is when I think it turns into something good. And what I thought of was the most recent Tomb Raider film.
Oh yeah.
Because I played a bit of the game too, and it really does kind of feel like the same vibe. And I don't know, I just think it was well done. I liked it.
That game felt ready-made for a movie. That
Yeah.
movie just did a great job of it, which is really nice.
Well, it's funny too that you mentioned that, because then there's movies like the Uncharted, which is very similar to Tomb Raider in terms of like vibe in the game.
It just
and
whiffed it.
What did they do? So that was so yeah, my good is actually a potential bad and ugly, and it's very similar to what you were saying. Is the lore in video games is sometimes so secondary that the writers can fill in gaps, and
Yeah.
sometimes that's a great thing. Like you said, in Detective Pikachu, in Sonic, honestly, that was a great thing because they took the Sonic lore, but kind of like filled gaps and made a fun movie out of it.
But
But
sometimes it's frog
sometimes
DNA.
sometimes it's Halo, and they just take, because Halo, there's not tons of story. There is lore, but they just ignored it. They just ignored it and kind of just did their own thing and made their own story
Eh.
to the point where you were like, you went too far. But that is, look, if they can get it right, and every time they have gotten it right, is because they take those gaps in the lore and fill them in with something that makes it a really good, fun movie, like Detective Pikachu.
I only have one more good here, and
Okay.
this is, I don't know if you put this one down, but I think this is key for a lot, not all, probably 85 to 90% of video game movies need to be 90 minutes or shorter.
I didn't put that.
Length is very important. If you go into the 2-hour territory with a video game movie, ooh, buddy, you are on thin ice. And you
What
better
are you?
know what
What are
you're
you
doing.
even pulling from at that point? You're
Yeah,
just
I think the Warcraft movie was like pushing 3 hours. Let's see.
okay. Well, come on. Warcraft
And-
is a little bit full of itself.
I know 2 hours and 3 minutes. So even Warcraft knew not to get too big for their britches. And oh, you know what it was? It was Mortal Kombat.
That was a good one. I like that one.
It was really good movie, but it did get no. That was only 1 hour and 50 minutes. I don't know what I was thinking. I think there was a recent video game movie that was clocked in over 2.5 hours, and people were like, "Okay, you can't do that."
I think even close to 2 hours is a little bit much.
2 hours
sometimes.
is pushing. Yeah, it's pushing it.
Let's see. I
Yeah,
got a
go
couple more goods. This one is a good, but also a bad, because they have a potentially rabid fan base built in already. So that can be great. With the Mario movie, they made $500 million. But on the flip side, you mess this up, and you're screwed. So it's like high risk, high reward.
Yeah.
And then finally, another good is you finally get to experience your favorite gaming worlds with no microtransactions. You just get to
Nice.
be there. You don't get peppered with
Except for the
skins.
$20 popcorn and the $12 soda.
Yes, the microtransactions though are actually physical goods instead
It's
of
back to the
digital
real life
goods.
ones.
Okay, what did you guys have for any bads?
What do you got, Jenna? What's bad for you in a video game movie?
The Angry Birds movie, because
Shots fired. Jenna hates Angry Birds.
well,
That-
okay, yeah, you take a simple, stupid game that you know kids are hooked on, then you create a movie so you can create more products to sell to kids. It's a money-making, like, empty machine. I just, like, don't see the value of that. And there's that second one. Why was there two? Anyway, nothing. Okay.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. The movies, unfortunately, I did see the first one. It's not good, and it was stupid, right? Again, this is an example of them. So I have this as a bad as well. So a popular game does not good cinema make, because, and I actually put Mortal Kombat for this one as an example. I did not like that movie. Because
we're fighting, Peterson.
here's what they keep doing. They keep taking these games like Angry Birds, Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, right? They take these games with nonsense storylines. Just the lore is absolute nonsense. And they're like, let's make a movie out of it. Let's make an hour-and-a-half long movie out of this. And you're like, how? How are you going to make this good? So I like it when there's gaps in the lore that they can fill in. I don't like it when it's all fill in, because they always make it even worse. So yes, I did not like the Mortal Kombat movie. Any of them. Old one, new one.
Then you're really gonna hate the upcoming Just Dance movies.
No,
Pac-Man,
that's not real.
the Portal movie, the Rabbids movie. the upcoming Space Channel 5 movie. They're making a Streets of Rage and Street Fighter movie. Space Invaders film. I'm sure that one's going to be very rich in story
That's
building.
like making. Remember that battle? What is Battleship
Battlefield.
movie?
Yeah. Oh, Battleship with was it Rihanna?
Rihanna.
Fuck
Yes.
yeah, dude.
Yeah,
That
they took they
is
took a
tight.
game with literally no lore and made a movie out of it.
So tell me if I'm wrong here, but I got here bad any original stories. If you take a video game and you decide to make your own story out of it. Now, I'm not talking Detective Pikachu, which was within the world and everything, and it didn't establish any of the upset lore. I'm talking an original story that you
like
just
the
call.
Fortnite movie or the Minecraft movie that are
Or Assassin's Creed or Doom, where it's just such a loose adaptation. Or like Halo, when it becomes so loose that it is essentially an original story. It's not necessarily Halo. It's got a character or maybe a storyline or two from it. The Doom movie, where it's like didn't have the Doom guy in it at all. So it's like, oh, well, there's like Mars and a portal and like kind of demon things. But so it's like if Detective Pikachu was the same movie, but nobody trained the Pokemon, or there's something that they completely removed, or the Pokemon were silent, and you're like, oh,
or if
that
there
would
was
take
no humans and it was just in the Pokemon world.
exactly. That's where you get into this territory of original. That's a perfect example where you get into the territory where it's essentially original story. You've twisted it so much, it's just kind of like a spiritual, not even a retelling. You've just kind of like plagiarized it.
It's like when they made Ocean's 13 or Ocean's 12, one of those Ocean's movies.
Whoa, be careful
No,
about
listen, it wasn't.
what you're going to say
What I'm gonna
next year
say is
about
it
Ocean's
wasn't
13.
it wasn't even an Ocean's movie. Someone wrote a script about a French
Oh, you mean
thief.
Ocean's 12? Yes.
Ocean's 12. They wrote a script about
The
a
Die
French
Hard
thief,
2
and they were like, "Oh, can we make this an Ocean's movie?" And they're like,
or Speed
okay.
2.
Right? So movies, they're just fitting something in. They're like, "Oh, we've got this script for a detective movie. Can we make it a Detective Pikachu movie?" Right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great example. Yep. So all of those are bad for me. Across the board, those three examples, especially Assassin's Creed, Doom, Halo, probably a handful of others. Anything made by Bowl would fit that category, like his Far Cry movie, and he made a number of others that were just total.
That's kind of like along with my
total
first
shitters.
one, though, like, popular game doesn't mean it's going to be a good movie. There's so many to pick from, and they sometimes somehow just pick some of the dumbest IPs to make a movie out of. I have another bad when they get directors or Hollywood executives or writers that don't know anything about video games, that don't play the video games, don't care about the video games. They're just like, well, we're gonna make a movie based off this, like Halo, right?
Yep.
They just get a property and they're like, no, we know what to do with this. We can make
like what's happening with The Witcher. Poor Henry.
Yes.
Like what's happening with The Witcher.
Betraying my man. No, just kidding.
No.
Fucking Henry Cavill, man. Jesus,
Hey,
get a grip.
I'm
dude.
with you on that one,
I'm
Jenna.
kidding. I'm so kidding.
Why? Why are you kidding? He's hot. His body is amazing. He's funny.
Actually,
Got
when
good
guys are that
opinions.
big, they make me uncomfortable.
Peterson,
It's
what
too
happens
big.
when Henry Cavill stars in a Brandon Sanderson film and he's
Okay.
like way into the lore of it?
Okay, I'm gonna need to take like a quick 5-minute break because you said that.
It's really not going to take me longer than 5 minutes. I'm already very warm. So uglies, I want to lead off with the ugly because I think this could be an interesting discussion. For me, one ugly is straight up adaptations of video games. Just very not I wouldn't say faithful, but when it's just a 1-to-1, like when they made the Psycho remake in 1997 and it was like a shot for shot remake and everyone's like, "Oh, so
Why?
it actually has no soul." I know I haven't watched it yet, but I have very little interest in watching The Last of Us on HBO because I know it's essentially just kind of a 1-to-1 adaptation of the The game which I honestly played through once and had no interest in playing again. For the story, I wasn't like, oh, I want to experience that story again. There are games that I'm like that are like kind of crazy or sad or depressing, and I'm like, I kind of want to try that game again. Not The Last of Us. So the idea of going through and watching it again after I played through essentially the exact same story, except for now I'm experiencing the story with without a controller in my hands, and I don't get to shoot any of the things. So it's just talking. Yeah.
So yeah, I did see The Last of Us, but only the first episode, and it was good. Honestly,
Sure.
it was very good. They did a great job. But you're absolutely right. It was like I knew what was going to happen. I knew what the scene was going to be. There was a like direct, exact remake of the opening sequence of The Last of Us, which is very cinematic to begin with. And so while I did enjoy it, what I did not enjoy was that I knew exactly what was happening. So I did get a little bit bored. However, I do feel bad because I canceled HBO subscription, and so I haven't watched the rest of it. And I've heard good things about it, but I'm with JD. I know the story. I played 3/4 of the game,
And you've seen it all. You've seen it and heard it. You've
And
heard
so
the same lines. You've heard the
Yes.
emotion in the
so I just
actors'
wasn't.
voices.
I'm not sure I want to do it again.
It's one thing where I see Reacher, the TV show, which is an extraordinarily faithful adaptation of the book that I've read, and I love it. Even though I know exactly what's going to happen in the story, I know how it's going to play out. I know all the characters because I never actually seen it. I've
Books
never
are different, though.
seen it.
I want a
But that's
faithful
what I'm saying.
adaptation of a book.
A game to a movie, you've got to bring something else to the table.
Yes.
Like Sonic did, like bring out James Marsden, like let's do something else that I can't get out of the game.
Yeah.
And only a gamer would know that.
Yeah. So I guess
And,
that's the challenge, is who you're making it for.
Yeah. Yes. I'm with you on that one. I think Sonic honestly did better than Mario because while Mario wasn't like a one-to-one adaptation of anything, it felt to me very soulless because there was nothing original or interesting going on besides nostalgia factor. They just put everything they could think of into the movie, and then the story was like tertiary. So,
Jenna, do you have any uglies for video game movies? It's
feel
okay.
like
This
it
one's
had
kind of
been touched on. Just like trying to fit things that don't fit.
yeah. I have one last one for ugly. Peterson, where are you at?
I essentially gave my one, so I've got one more.
Okay, my last one for ugly is when the video game movie never comes out. And this is why it's ugly, because it could be good, it could be bad. Is, as we saw, everyone wanted a Halo movie, TV series, whatever you could give us. There was a YouTube short that was like 8 minutes long 10 years ago, and people were like, just give us more of that. It doesn't matter. Just give us anything, please. Just give us a Halo movie. The story's amazing. It's pre-made. All you have to do is adapt it. That would actually make me question what I just told you, Peterson, about the Last of Us adaptation. Straight up, if you made a straight up one-to-one adaptation of the Halo game, I mean, I might be fucking down for that. Because you'd cut so many of the sequences where they just have you running down a long corridor shooting things. So it would actually be pretty tight. But then it came out. We got Halo. We got what we asked for, and it was like a fucking monkey paw. And it sucked. However, another one that we've been asking for decades and haven't gotten, the BioShock movie, hasn't come out yet. It hasn't been ruined yet, guys. In our minds, it can still be like a really good movie. That's like
BioShock
perfect casting, a $250 million CG budget. They actually built a ton of underwater sets. Like, it's legit, you guys, in your fucking head, because when it comes out, it's not.
The story's gonna be all funky. It'll be twisted just enough to where you're like,
it's gonna be on Amazon Prime, and it's actually not gonna be set underwater.
it'll be in the sky. It was just easier. Don't worry about it.
It's just, don't worry about it.
My last one, my ugly was, of course, acting choices. So they pick actors. So I'm gonna go. I am going to go out and take another. I'm gonna get on some people's bad sides here. But in the Mario movie, the voice acting is a big deal, right? Chris Pratt, again, we mentioned this in our Discord. He was fine.
Yeah.
Honestly, it wasn't a distraction. But did he bring anything interesting to the role? No. And I'll say the same thing for the actress who played Princess Peach, which was Anya Taylor-Joy. She brought nothing memorable to the role. And maybe that's writing, but her voice is not super unique. That's not the thing that's interesting about Anya Taylor-Joy. I think, honestly, a big piece of it is she's got such a unique look. And so when you take her and just use her voice, you're like, it could be literally anybody in that role. It could have been anybody. So it wasn't like you were listening to it and you're like, oh, nice, she's killing it. Just like when you're, I mean, an animated show, every time I go to an animated movie, I pull up IMDb and I'm like, oh, who is that? Oh, man, they're killing it. This is so good. They're doing a great job. I was like, Anya Taylor-Joy was okay. Chris Pratt was okay. And so I think actor choices can be interesting because both those actors are hot right now. And, but again, they're not famous for their voices. And so I thought it was honestly, they could have made a more interesting choice on both of those roles. But so yeah. So actor choice is an ugly for me.
But sometimes it can be really good, like Angelina Jolie in Tomb Raider. Is that not the most perfect casting? I'm not talking about the new, because the new Tomb Raider they cast.
It's
a perfect
younger,
actress
the
for
younger,
that,
right?
and it's great. But for the PlayStation, the big boobs, like short shorts, Laura
Yes.
Croft that we
Yeah.
knew, dude, Angelina Jolie was like born to play that role. I thought that was
They messed up
amazing
Uncharted.
casting.
Again, they picked
Yeah,
two famous
screwed
actors
that
who
up.
didn't necessarily fit the role.
Yep, they had a good one. They didn't have to screw up, but they did.
Detective Pikachu, they did great with that kid. Some of them, sometimes they take an unknown actor and just they'll kill the role. They're so good. But Mario movie, honestly, the other big names were so good, right? Seth Rogen as Donkey Kong was actually pretty hilarious. Jack Black as Bowser, though, was so fantastic. He was a highlight of the movie. And so yeah, I feel like right casting can kill it, and wrong
kill
casting
it.
is just so
And
nonsense.
also kill it.
Yeah. So
Cool. Well, that was dope. And I want to move us on to reindeer games.
okay.
Don't play no. 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 Reindeer games with reindeer games with reindeer games with reindeer games with reindeer games with. Don't play no reindeer games with me. I read your letters, Conrad.
They got a shitload of cookies.
That's my favorite part right there of the whole thing.
You got a shitload of cookies. You guys have to watch reindeer games to get that joke.
I know it's so nonsense line in there, but we talk about Crave cookies every week, so it's even better.
You got a shitload of cookies. All right. Reindeer games is this segment for some reason or another where we play a game on air and you play along with us if you wanna. If you want to play along and keep the party rolling, jump into our Discord and I don't know, tell us your answers to these questions. So we are doing this week's reindeer games is early access games. Would you rather? So all we ever play is early access these days. And so we're going to do would you rather early access games. Peterson and I have a bunch of questions we'll be asking each other and Jenna.
Okay.
Do you want to go first?
I got 6, so I'll take one first.
Yeah, I got 4, so you go first and last.
Okay, so let's see. I'll start with an easy. Would you rather? This one has 3 options. Would you rather have early access movies, early access books, or early access video game or board games?
Well, I know you want early access books so you can be closer to the fingertips of your
Yeah,
boyfriend.
but can you imagine how bad they would be?
I don't know, Sanderson. I don't know, man.
First
He could
edition.
probably pump out pretty good stuff, like serials, like back in the day, like when they would have serialized stories and like newspapers and stuff. And I don't think those had a lot of editing. I think those just came out.
So early access books, movies. Movies would be the worst.
Or what was the third one?
Board games. Actually, rank them. Which one would you want more?
Jenna,
than
what's
the,
yours, dude?
What's your top if you had to pick?
Board games would be my first, especially if I could give feedback on the gameplay. That'd
Yeah,
be
so that's
dope.
essentially what it would be. It'd be like, what do you
Yeah.
guys think? And I would hate
And
that.
then movies would be last for me because
We'll add the CG later. Don't worry.
like so much would be like so much. Oh, I don't. That would be hard. Very short film maybe. Yeah. I don't. What was the other one?
Books.
Books. Yeah.
I gotta
could-
agree with Jenna's ranking.
I
That
think
board games, books, and then
Movies.
I think I would do books first and then board games. I think learning how to play a board game and then knowing it's just, I mean, I've play tested a couple board games and it's pretty rough. Like you'll come
Yeah.
across rules and then you get stuck. You're like, okay, well, it's not in the rule book. So let's make a note. And then I guess we'll figure out what we think the rules should be. I don't know. I don't like that. So, okay. So there you go.
Yeah, I went through a phase when DVDs were kind of new, watching a lot of DVD extras. So, and seeing where films kind of were in early stages before they got kind of edited and rewritten. And I feel like those would be the worst ones.
That would be the worst. And honestly, would it surprise you if they started doing that? Like, this movie's running out of funding, so we're just gonna. You can buy the early version of it.
Yeah,
right
you
now.
can see what happens with that when you go watch Waterworld, you guys. You can see what happens when the movie money gets cut off. All right, so I have one.
Okay.
This is a superpower. You get a superpower, this superpower ability, but you only get one of these. You can either make any early access game you love come out immediately. Just you play a new game and it's early access, and you're like, "Oh my god, I want to play this in 1.0."
I want all the updates. I want it in. Yeah.
You can just download that game with a click of a button, or this same game that you're thinking of, or whatever. You can get 2 more early access games instantly that are similar to that. So you play Valheim and you love it. You can either play Valheim 1.0 or you can play 2 other early access games that are very similar to Valheim and then wait for all 3 of those to go into 1.0.
Okay. I think I've got it. I want the second option where I get 2 more games that are similar to it, because whenever I play like a game that I'm really into and it's early access and I'm like, okay, now I'm going to wait. I'm always looking for copycat games or similar games. So like Dave the Diver, I played that and I watch for updates. I'm super excited for when they release 1.0. But in the meantime, I want other games of it. I want others.
Yeah.
Give me some more. Give me some
1.0
more
won't
of
satisfy
that.
me. So it's either 1 or 3. How about you, Jenna?
Well, I'm kind of thinking about Peterson's pitch now, but initially I was like just the 1 because 3 sounds like overwhelming to me. So fair. I don't know, 1 game at a time, I guess.
Yeah, because you could have Beavertown. What is that game called? You could have Beavertown 1.0 just right now. And you put a bunch like 30 hours into that game.
Yeah, I would take that over having to decide what game to play. That's too much.
Is Beavertown the name of a game?
No.
It's the name of the game that we gave the game.
Okay, because Beavertown sounds like one of the games that would pop up on my Steam new and trending list, which I send to JD periodically.
Yours would be called Steamy Beavertown or something like.
It's not a
Milf
specifically
Beavertown.
It's not a curated list. It's just the top games on Steam at the moment that have come out
For Peterson. The
It's-
top
no,
sex
it's
games.
not
It knows you like the sex games. You can't stop clicking on them.
That's why he wants so many more. He's like, yes, give me.
It is
I'm
honestly
addicted.
comical. I should start posting them in the 3BG
Yeah,
after
dude.
dark.
It knows you're
You
taking
should.
screenshots
So
and
funny.
it thinks you're interested. The algorithm thinks you like it. Okay, Peterson, what's your next would you rather?
Okay. Wait, did you answer that one, JD?
I think
you
I'd
want-
go with 2 more. I think I'd like 3 because that's essentially what I did with Valheim. Is I went to that's kind of what inspired me. I had Valheim, and I was like, I gotta find more. And it was like now that we've had so many Valheim updates, I've seen that I'm like, no, I like spreading it out and seeing if there's other things in that same vein that I like.
Okay, so would you rather have every game come out? So early access games come out. Oh no, sorry, every game ever, including early access, comes out limited release for each version. So the first version of Valheim that comes out, only 30,000 people can play it, and then they release, the next update, 30,000 more copies can be sold. So it's like you gotta like,
Yeah.
you're like, I don't know when can I get in on this, and you have to buy it every single time.
Okay.
Or early access games are rental only. So you go pay for an early access game, and once it's 1.0, it's off your list and you have to buy it again.
Oh, I gotta go with the first one.
So you'd have to buy each iteration of the game.
I feel like either of these options, dude, I just wouldn't play these. This genre of game would be fully disinteresting. So neither of them really, I'm like, it doesn't matter.
You have to
'Cause
pick
either
one.
way,
Gun to your head,
either way,
JD.
I'm gonna stop playing early access games because it's such a pain in the ass and it's so fucking expensive.
I know. I
and
thought of this
stupid.
and I was like, this is the worst version of early access gaming.
Yeah, this is early access by EA. This is EA.
So which one would you pick, though? You got to pick one.
The first one.
So every game comes out limited release for each version. So you're like, I'll wait for Valheim. I'll wait for the next update, but you got to be one of the 30K
Because
people
you'd feel
that can get
actually
it.
pretty cool, and it would be an interesting talking point to be like, "Oh, have you played Valheim?" Like, and the next question would be, "Which version?"
Which version? I got the first and the
I
third
got
release.
in on 8, and then I wasn't able to get in on 9, 10, or 11. Oh, but 13 was so fun. He's like, "Oh, I missed 13, but 14 was fun." I think that actually could have an appeal. The rental system sounds like just shit. That just sounds like fucking
Wouldn't that be the
misery.
worst thing?
Yeah, that just sounds like a bad idea. I hate that.
But what if you just wanted to try a game for a little bit and you didn't want to really commit to it?
What if it was
Just a
cheaper?
quick
What if it was like
rental. It's just a
$5?
quick-
$5 for the game as is, but when 1.0 comes out, you got to buy it for 60.
Oh, I can buy it fully though, but like
Yeah.
that's not actually that bad. I guess that's not terrible. That's honestly how it feels sometimes. You don't actually buy it, but like when they do a closed beta or they do a limited beta, it's like a couple weeks. That's kind of how that feels, like a rental. Okay. All right. So these are your 2 options for would you rather. Every game in the whole world now, no matter what, they all come out in early access. The new Call of Duty, the new Madden game.
Oh my gosh, Call of Duty coming out early access.
The second they have a functional build, they are out in the marketplace. And the game now, basically, that is how game development works. Is it's all do it live. We're all doing it live. Or no early access games ever again. They're all gone. The concept is gone. Games either come out in 1.0 or they don't come out at all.
I guess I'd have to go 1.0 because some of the games would be so bad in early access.
No one would touch them.
Like online games, online only games would be a nightmare. I'd have
Suicide
to
Squad would already be EA. They'd already be in early access. They'd be getting hammered. Everyone would know it was shit right now. No qualms.
Yeah, I think I'd rather just wait. If I had to. Like I do like early access too for a lot of these little indie games.
Yeah.
But man, I'd have to wait.
How about you, Jenna? You waiting?
Same answer. Yeah.
Nah.
I also
Yucky.
think about when video games used to come out as a kid, and it's just like, can you imagine having early access Nintendo 64 cartridge?
I was
cannot.
thinking about that for one of these questions. Like, what if games were cartridge only, but early access still exists? So you're like, go and
Yeah.
buy an early access version of
And just
Mario
you have
64.
so many cartridges just sitting in a pile, like old demo discs.
So
and
many.
some of them just straight up don't function anymore. They just stopped working, or they didn't work by the time you got them home. All right,
Oh,
Peterson,
man.
what's your next one?
Okay. So would you rather have no early access games on Game Pass or Game Pass early access is an extra cost?
Oh shit!
So you got to pay a few dollars extra to have the early access games that are on Game Pass.
No, wait. I'm a patient
Yep.
bitch.
Yeah,
No early access?
yeah. Fuck you guys. You're trying to make extra money on the games that are less completed.
But like what if they
Yeah.
were out on Steam and they're like, "Oh, you can play this on Game Pass for $2 a month and more."
Like Jenna said, I'm a patient bitch. I'll put it on my wish
You
list.
are
and
not.
I am not a patient bitch, but I will
But
put
you
games on
will.
my wish list.
He will spitefully put it on his wish list. He'll be so mad.
Yeah.
He'll be
Yeah,
so
I mean, if
mad.
it's gonna be no, you know what? I was gonna say when it comes to games, I can be patient, especially if I'm being bullied. Like currently, I'm being bullied into not playing Planet Crafter by Peterson. Active bullying, you guys. I want to play a game. He won't let me play it. This feels like
I
I'm
just
being oppressed.
all I do is convince him to wait, and he takes it very personally.
Hate this. Hate this. I just wanted to play this game for 3 updates, and every time there's a new update, I send it to Peterson. What does he say?
Dude,
One
just
more,
wait.
just better
Just
wait.
one more.
It's like when you were swimming to your dad in the swimming pool and you just kept walking backwards, and you're like, "Dad, I'm gonna motherfucking drown here." And he's like, "Just one more." And for him,
He's
it's
like,
just a
"You
little
got it,
step.
buddy. You
Just
got
a
it,
little
buddy."
step. Peterson, he doesn't have the addiction to Planet Crafter. It's just one step backwards. For me, I'm swimming for my fucking life here.
Terraforming is not my favorite genre of video game. JD is over here.
My
He
whole
just-
mental health is held together by the idea of playing Planet Crafter.
He started telling his therapist weekly about how I won't let him play Planet Crafter.
She knows Peterson's first and last name. We'll just put it that way.
How are things going this week, JD? Peterson won't let me play the latest update of Planet Crafter. I can't
doing
stop
it
thinking
again.
about it. I can't stop. How do I get out of this? I'm so mad. Okay.
All right, so you can only play early access games on consoles, or so I know both of these are available. I know
Okay.
there's a lot of early access games on consoles now,
Yeah.
but not as many as there are obviously on PC. Wouldn't you say, Peterson? About
Oh yeah.
if there are it's a rarity, like games like Valheim that are early access that are on console. That is a kind of a rarity.
Console doesn't love to have them.
And it's the same idea with mods. If you want to mod games, there are a handful of games you can mod on consoles, but it is few and far between. So, which would you rather see on consoles? More mods or more early access games? And keep in mind, there's a lot of cool console games that I think people would like to mod. And if you're thinking, like for me personally, I'm thinking how I got Hogwarts Legacy on PS5. Well, it'd be really fucking sweet if I could put Thomas the Tank Engine and ride him around, but I can't.
Yeah, I'd say mods on console, like more available, would be way more interesting.
Yeah.
Because I mean, console exclusives are becoming less and less, but they do exist, and often they're very good. And yeah, I think people have that same conversation every time. Oh, I wish I could mod this. I want to mod this so badly. You know what I mean?
Yeah. How about you, Jenna?
I'd only say mod because I really want more songs in Beat Saber.
Dude,
That's a great point.
that is a great one. That's a great
because
example.
we have the PlayStation VR, and so we have very few game. And I didn't even know that was a thing. And then I thought, oh yeah, Beat Saber PC has more. It's like, no, Beat Saber's PC's mods have 1 million. But yeah. So Peterson, you should have 2 more, right?
Yeah, 3 more. Wait, let's see.
Okay.
1, 2.
Okay.
Yeah. So, okay, would you rather have no reviews allowed for early access games? So you cannot see a review on it or a rating while it's in early access, or every early access games now all have ads, kind of like mobile games. So no reviews. You can't look it up and be like, how is this game? You're just taking a shot in the dark every time, or have ads on your early access.
No
game.
reviews, but they give you a demo.
It's not the option, Jenna. You
Jenna's
can't.
making her rules. That's Trent's way of playing these games.
That is
Just
Trent's
mixing
way
up.
of playing this. He's like, yeah, just play the demo of it.
I
It's
would
fine.
just do this way.
That's not an option.
You're playing it wrong. Okay.
Gun to your head. All right. Well, I would just not make a decision and live the rest of my life with a gun to my head.
Also, the gun is to your head. You're holding the gun to your own head. You're
Also,
like,
it's a water gun.
Actually, the gun's on both our heads.
Your gun fires backwards at you. Your gun misfires.
Can't make your own rules to this, Jenna. No reviews at all or ads on early access games.
Fine, no reviews, and I don't buy it.
Jenna stops playing video games and she wins.
You know
I
what?
will
I quit.
agree.
I quit.
I win the ultimate game.
I agree with Jenna for different reasons on the reviews, because while I do love Steam reviews and I generally will avoid anything with terrible or even mixed reviews on Steam, I feel like I'm very rarely looking at games that have that, where I'm like, oh, this game looks kind of good, and then I look at the review and it looks like shit. So I guess I'm saying I feel like my shitty game radar is actually pretty good. So I think I could live with that. And I have a violent reaction to seeing ads in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, I think it's so hard because well, I do look at a lot of games and I'm like, dude, this game looks dope. Or I'll put it on my wish list and then it comes out and it's like mostly negative. And I'm like, what happened?
Yeah.
It looks so good to me.
Yeah.
I would spend a lot
Choo
more
Choo
money.
Charlie.
Choo Choo Charlie's a great example.
That's our biggest whiff in like 6 years. And like, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, that's
Peterson,
true.
Of course, the games look good too. They had sex images on the front
Not
cover.
those types of games, Jenna. I don't even play those, you guys.
I just like them for the stories.
No, it's just interesting to see.
The character development's really cool. You don't get it.
I like the developmental aspect of it. Like, how did they make this game? And like, no, no, it's often a lot of like roguelike type of games. So like, with like like I stopped looking at deck builders because a lot of them turned out to be really bad. Those types of games, those dungeon crawling, but like random element, like dice ones. And I was like, fine, okay, I'll stop because they're all bad now. But I would have spent an extra like $300 if I didn't have reviews. So I don't know. I do hate ads. But
I'd rather waste a game or waste money on a game developer that's making a kind of crappy game than watch an ad. That's my thing.
Watch a single ad.
Yeah, exactly. So this is my last one that I have. Would you rather you only are ever playing early access games? That's the only game you can ever play. And the second that it goes into 1.0, you can't play it anymore.
No.
Or you can never play early access games ever again, including any game that was ever released in early access. So you can only play games that are released as a full release game.
Oof.
If they ever did an early access, I mean a beta or whatever, like we won't count those necessarily if they did a beta or an alpha.
But if it was ever early access,
you can't play those. So either you can only play early access games and you have to stop when they go into 1.0, or you can just never play an early access game or a game that was ever released in early access ever again.
I hate this one.
I had to add the caveat to the second one. It seemed too easy if you could just say, oh, I just won't play early access games again, because you're like, then I can just wait for all the good ones. Nope, you can't wait. You can't even wait.
I think I choose the first option. I hate it, but
isn't that crazy?
Because
Jenna, what about you?
Yeah, I don't know.
Wait, sorry, Peterson.
I was gonna say because I think I like more games that were in early access recently than not. You know what I mean? I don't play a lot of games that came out day one.
Dude,
I don't know.
Great question.
I hate it.
Look at what games I've been playing recently.
Yeah, I don't like that one. You know what? Screw you, JD.
That is the one I
Put
wanted.
this worm into my brain.
I wanted one that was like a really tough decision. So I could have played, so the last 3 games I've played were all early access. I'd be Brotato, Farlanders, Valheim. Jenna, isn't Planet Zoo still in early access?
Absolutely not.
No. Okay.
Okay, so
Absolutely
Jenna,
not.
what would you choose in this one?
I think I would do the opposite.
You would only go if it was. You can't play it if it was ever in early access, though, Jenna.
That's okay.
I don't think she's played a ton because like a lot of the games that she'd be waiting for, like Hollow Knight 2 and stuff, those aren't
going to be early
those
access.
are never going to come in early access.
Yeah, Ori's never going to be early access.
The early access games that Jenna plays are the ones that I make her play.
Yeah, sounds all right.
Like Streets of Rogue and stuff like that.
Well, she's lucky then.
Dude, I don't know, Peterson. I think I got to go with early access games only too, which is wild. We would be very specialized, and we never play a game that worked properly.
Yeah, we'd be like, this is how video games are now.
But it would also make it interesting when you're playing a game like Valheim that you'd be like savoring it. You'd be like, I don't want them to finish it. I don't want to see 1.0. I want them to take their time. You'd be a big fan of that space game, Star Citizen, or what is it?
I'd be submitting bug stuff constantly.
This can't go into. It's like 0.9999. You're like, no, just one more version.
Wait,
guys.
hold on. I found a
ready.
bug. I found a bug here, and I'm making bugs up and stuff.
All right, Peterson. What are your last?
Okay, so let's see. Would you rather have no refunds allowed for early access games, or when early access ends, you need to pay the difference or delete the game? Because often they'll come out, and 1.0 is costs more.
The
than
first
early
one was
access.
what?
You can never get a refund for early access games.
Oh, that one. I've only ever gotten a refund for like one game on Steam ever.
Oh, shoot.
That one's easy for me.
I've done it like 5 or 6 times.
Yeah, that one's easy for me.
Okay.
Jenna?
Do you find yourself? I mean, I feel like that scenario would be rare because you're constantly being like hopeful that the game will improve. So why would you want to refund it?
Well, I sometimes
Unless
I get a
you
game and I'm
hated
like,
it.
I hate this game so much, I'm refunding it right away. I hate this.
I guess I would just have to do the refund one.
No refunds allowed?
Yeah.
I would probably do the you know what? I'd probably end up doing the refund one as well. No refunds allowed. I'd be mad, like maybe once or twice a year.
We'd go broke paying that difference.
If Steam pops up a notification, okay, pay an extra $9 or the game will be deleted from your Steam library.
Yeah, because Valheim is 100% going to be $60 when it comes out, and we paid $20 for it, and some people paid like $10.
Okay, my last one. Would you rather get paid every time you successfully submitted a bug, or get your name in the credits? So
name
and the pay would be very low, right?
Name and credits.
Okay.
Pay me.
We're beautiful. How about you, Peterson?
I think I'd go for the name in the credits. I think it would be really fun to see that, but also like I like an incentive to like submit bug reports and things like that.
In general, I think it would be really cool if that was like a paid thing, because I think games would people would go nuts looking for them.
And people would actually submit bugs. I think I've submitted a bug report like once in my life, and I play so many early access games, and I just don't want to take the time for it.
You know? I know what it feels like because I made using the podcast's Patreon because I didn't want to make a separate one. I subscribed to a YouTube guy that makes
the FTL videos,
and FTL like animated series.
Yep.
And ended up in the credits, and because it's the 3-Bit Gamer Show, it was the number one. It was the first thing in the credits because it's the number 3,
and it was so much cooler than if it was like, oh, thanks for submitting this bug, you've got 18 cents or something.
I freaked out. I just saw it on a dumb YouTube video, and it made me so happy. So yeah, I think having that in a game, I'd poop my pants. I would poop my pants seeing my name in the game credits.
Cool.
That
was my last one.
All right, let's move on to dice.
Dice of Destin. Nope, not doing it this week.
You have a mulligan dice?
Yeah, I
Sound
forgot
bite?
about it. I saw it when I was looking at my sound.
Wow, that is specialized work. Okay, will you do the whole thing, Peterson? Confess.
Yes. So I had a busy week, not for video games. So I chose Wrestling Empire. I only booted up like once or twice, and I really need to put more time into it to play it. So I need to take that mulligan. I got to take a mulligan.
Gotta get it. All
I'm
right,
sorry.
so
I'm
next,
sorry, guys. I just had no time to game this week. Okay, so get off my back.
he didn't have his
Try
22
to be
hours.
more of a
this week.
millennial. Jeez.
Yeah, dude. You got to put in 22 at orders. You got to cram those in tonight because the week's almost over.
I
buddy.
felt like either an old person this week or a teenager, so I don't know which one is better, but that's how I felt.
All right, so next week, hopefully, barring any more mulligans, Peterson should have a review for us.
I'm not going to do a double mulligan.
Dude, we've been there. We've all been there.
No,
You have a
done
couple.
that. I've never
You
done
have
it.
too many beer buckets at the mini golf thing, and you have to take a couple mulligans because you're like, oh, mulligan, mulligan.
Guys, just okay.
Mulligan.
Look, I didn't take a mulligan last hole, so I take what they add up. They're
I
cumulative.
saved up. I get 9 mulligans for the whole course, and I'm going to use them all right now.
That's how golf rules work. Guys, I've watched the PGA Tour before. Have you? Because I have.
Why else do they have a beer cart? So yeah, that's it. That's the whole episode. To play us out, we've got more music from Mickey Mania. This week is Mickey Mania Dungeon.
Here's what I'll say about these Mickey Mania songs. They are intense. They make my heart rate go up.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not even playing the game. I never played the game.
If you
My
have like
heart
an
rate is
Apple
pounding.
Watch and it starts going off, just tell it, oh no, I'm just listening to the Mickey Mania slappers, and they're like, oh yeah,
I
we
understand
get that all the time.
Yeah.
All right. I'm JD logging off.
This is Peterson going AFK.
And this is Jenna. See you later.
Oh, wait. We also didn't say hi to Phil and Snorgle, who were in our live stream.
Oh yeah.
Hi, guys. You
Hey,
guys
guys.
What's up?
Thanks for hanging out. Love
Well, guess
seeing you
what?
at this very late
I'm
evening.
ending the broadcast now. So
Okay.
bye.
Bye, guys. Love you.
Bye.